Hello, welcome back to the IAESTE podcast, Work Experience Discover. I'm Mark and the host, and in this episode I have a very special guest like usual. It's Andressa from Brazil, who did an IAESTE internship in Sweden back in 2019. During this interview I discovered a quite very interesting story because in one of our conversations, Andressa also told me that she is originally from the shantytown of Sao Paulo, which we all know as the favelas. And now she's living together with her boyfriend in Sweden, in Hudiksvall. And she told me how IAESTE changed her life and how volunteering for IAESTE opened a new world to her. So please keep this in mind when you're now listening to the interview, and I hope to all the executives that you see that IAESTE is doing something wonderful and that we are really needed and that we are changing lives. So for me that was a really nice experience to talk to Andressa, and I hope you enjoy also this interview with her, and see you also then in the next one. Thank you. So when you compare Sweden to Brazil, what's the biggest difference besides climate, of course?
Okay, besides climate and weather and so on, I think it's the culture, the foremost difference that I got to know when I came here. And the most was that Sweden is more egalitarian country. In other words, people are treated equally. And in Brazil, whereas in Brazil, we have kind of certain levels of inequality. So that means here in Sweden, some can call like utopia for us in Latin America. And in Brazil, we have, unfortunately, still this an equation in part of our society, and also the way that people treat you here. They are more modest, and also they the praise for privacy. And in Brazil, we are more like open and expressiveness in somehow, and pride at the same time, and of course friendly.
Yes, so I know some people from Brazil because due to IAESTE, of course, but that's what I always was my first impression, quite very open and friendly. And but I totally understand that, because also as an Austrian, people consider Sweden as really as a role model within Europe, right? And I don't think that everything is so perfect like a lot of people think, but I think that a lot of things are done very well. And a good point, I think, especially in these days, is the treating people equally. I think that's a huge point in this society at the moment.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, and this made a huge difference for me, and that's why I I want to stay here in Sweden.
We will come to that point actually throughout this interview, but let's go back a little bit. You did your internship in August 2019.
Yeah.
And please walk me a little bit through it. So maybe give us a little bit of background. So what city are you from? What's your study field was, and how did it happen that you did an internship in Sweden? So
okay, within Brazil, I'm from São Paulo city, so roughly 12 million people. And I was doing my bachelor in science and technology, focusing in chemistry. And back then I was a volunteer for 2 years, more or less, for IAESTE, and I enjoyed, and I really recommend to everybody be a volunteer, because was the most exciting period of my life. I mean it. And then I got to know about the possibility to go to Sweden, actually in Brazil, I don't know if everybody knows how it works, but mainly people has to gather some points to be able to make a wish list, and sort of uh, put some kind of order. First place, I want to this country and this. You can also sort of sort for countries or even positions. So I did mainly for positions, and at first I put a Sweden, and then I put for chemistry, and also it wasn't in my field though, but I think I put also the US vacancy also, and as a second place, and the third was a Swiss company within business department. But then I got to know that I passed to my first option. That was so exciting. It was the most exciting
How
moment.
was the moment when you got the notice? Okay, you will go to Sweden. Was there also a kind of fear in there, or was it pure excitement?
Now pure excitement, because I don't know. I back then I was actually come back to my home from I was fixing my computer in some store in São Paulo, and then I got to know, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to Sweden. And then I called my daddy. It's happening, daddy. It's happening now. Finally, I'm going. Yeah, because was one of my dreams to go abroad, and mainly to Europe. And also because for people that comes from the area, or even the part of the society that I come from, exchange program or even internship abroad wouldn't be possible. But if you work really hard, if you have determination, you can reach your goals and achieve and thrive in the end.
That's really amazing. And your
Yeah.
dad, of course, he was quite happy for you too. So there was not like, oh my God, my
Yeah.
daughter is going somewhere.
No, he was kind of prepared, because
Mhm.
all the time throughout 2 years of volunteering, I always came with some foreigner people to home.
Mhm.
Oh, daddy, this is someone from this country and another country, and then he got to know more
Mhm.
about, and he knew that I would be in good hands here in
Yes,
Sweden, so he
indeed,
was
indeed.
less worried about everything.
So I think that's a huge point for a lot of parents, right? When
Yeah.
you're not going on your own, but within the association. And normally
Mhm.
in Sweden
It's
there are the
safe.
local also
Yeah.
student volunteers taking care about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's I think a quite nice point. So preparing then for the internship, was there something maybe which you were not thinking in the first place? So maybe like something you need to pack or something to need to prepare before
Yeah.
going to Sweden?
Yeah, it was kind of wasn't out of the blue. I
Okay.
prepared myself, and also at first in 2017 when I start, I I I wanted to go right away direct to the internship, and then I got to know about the scoring system and how work it. Then I thought, I want a good position,
Mhm.
because since it's a huge country with so many inhabitants, um, tends to be difficult. It's kind of a challenge, and the competitiveness level, it's kind of high. Kind of no, I am underestimating. It's high,
Yeah.
and yeah, and then 2017 I started gathering some points, but all I did, I couldn't tell I was like doing that. I was so joyful, so nice, because as I told you, the most exciting moment of this whole EIS thing, or the whole EIS process, because it was a process, was in Brazil, actually, doing the volunteer, because then I got to know several nationalities within my home country. And then was exciting because then I got to know more about my home country, because back then I didn't know. And and show people how nice it is, your country, how warm people are, how solidary we have. And was a really good feeling to be there, to be able to do that.
I think that's a very good point. I remember also my first summer with the IAESTE interns when I was volunteering here in Austria for my local committee. And I think one of the moments was when the students, the interns, told me things about Austria because they noticed something. And for me, that was something I was used to. So it opened my eyes for behavior or things we had in Linz back then. I used to live in Linz. And that's a really, really good point, actually. It opens your eyes for your own country too. And of course, having all those groups of different nationalities, it's really amazing. But let us move a little bit forward, and let's go to your internship.
Okay.
Because then you, I believe, from Sao Paulo going then to Stockholm. How was the first day in Sweden? So your first impression. And your internship was in August, so luckily I believe it was still very warm. And
actually it wasn't in Stockholm, was a little bit north. They call Mid Sweden, and it's a not that big village. It calls Iggesund, and the whole village was created or formulated because of this industry that now it's called home Iggesund paperboard. And they mainly do products with paper, or they are called like paperboard company, with focus in packaging and graphic products. So they made the raw material for your iPhone package and so on. And then I was within the product and development department, and it was fantastic the way people treat me there. And I wanted to give a shout out to my ex-boss there, Johan Lindberg. He was amazing, so wise. So precisely, a really good boss.
Very good.
But the whole city, the total wasn't a city actually. Was a village with 3,000 inhabitants or so, approximately. Wow. It was a shock, actually.
I can imagine. I mean, you're used to Sao Paulo, 12 million people, and then you're there in 3,000 people. How was this? Because I imagine in former episodes we had a German trainee who used to work in Sao Paulo as an intern, and he was like, for him it was the other way around, right? He was from a city more than 3,000, but still not like a regular one, and then you are there and living in a 12 million people city. And for him it was a really shock at the beginning, because everything was so huge, and the city was huge. It was, I don't know, it was loud. He told me that also in other conversations. How was it for you then? Like getting simple things like getting your groceries or getting something fixed. How was the change there?
Okay. Was enormous difference. For instance, when I came, I got to know that I would own or almost own. I mean, rent a whole house for myself because didn't have that many people to share with. And that was kind of amazing back then. And I made a video showing the house off to my dad and my family. Look at how huge is this house just
Yeah.
for me. And okay, to be able to make shop and things like that was kind of difficult. At the beginning, the Google Translate was my best friend.
I can imagine.
Yeah, but people from the company, mainly my ex boss, he showed me off uh, the whole city. Wasn't just the village, and the city as well. And people from the countryside is they are more kind of closed, and was difficult for me to make some friends or even colleagues. I mean, I made some colleagues at work, but it's not the same as hang out with young
Yes.
people, and also hang out with volunteers. And there I didn't have that and back then I didn't have that possibility because no volunteer lived in Igesun. And yeah, I think it's still like that.
Yes, I mean most of the volunteers are in the student cities, right? So I think we also have several times this problem, so to say, but we try to get them into the city from time to
Yeah.
time, the interns, so that they have at least a little bit of the IAESTE experience. But I think, how was it then for the first time living then alone? Because
Yeah.
for a lot of interns that's quite a challenge.
Yeah, it is. It was actually because I was used to have everything to ingrain everything so quickly, and to live this big city life, many things to handle at the same time, and then out of the sun everything stopped.
Yeah.
And it was a shocking moment for me, and it's still being, because now, as I told before, now I'm living here, and I still getting used to the Swedish way of living, because they are more calm, they are more let's do this right, slowly but truly, and everything. And that was kind of difficult for me at the beginning, and to see myself kind of in a lonely situation. I don't know, I felt a little bit depressed at first, but then I thought, no, I have to take the good things from this experience. So I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna visit another countries, I'm gonna even visit my work colleagues' homes and go out with them. Yeah, make the best of the situation.
I think that's a very important point, or a bit takeaway from this episode already.
Yeah.
Although not everything is perfect, you always have, when you're on an experience like an not just an yes internship, but if you're in a different country, you always have to take the best out of it as much as possible.
Yeah.
So take the opportunity and try to live it to the best you can. Visit other countries, especially in Europe. It's quite easy, you take a train ride
Yeah.
most of the times, and you're at a different country, and that's it.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Yeah, and or you take a flight, and I think the flight from Stockholm to Vienna is, I think, 2 hours, 2.5 or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe a little bit longer because of the shape of the Earth, but
Yeah.
that's the good point. We once, I think I told it already in the podcast already. We had once an intern from the US in Austria, and she was from Chicago.
Oh.
And for her, she was really amazed being in Linz, because she was every weekend. She had no time to do with us, going out or something, because she was always in a different city. She was like,
Oh.
guys, can you not travel every weekend? There's a 2-hour flight to Rome. It costs like 200 euros. Let's go. This and this and this. And she was like, every weekend she was gone and visited Madrid, Rome, every
Oh
city.
my.
So I think I found it quite inspiring, to be honest. Like, for me, I wasn't
Yeah.
used, I took it for granted, you know, and for me it
Mhm.
was like, okay, summer vacation 1 week in Rome is like,
Yeah.
maybe, to be honest, not a good idea because it's very hot in Rome in August. I did that. But it's, I mean, Rome is a very nice city. But
Yeah.
let's go on a little bit throughout your internship. So,
Mhm.
as you said, you are living now in Sweden.
Yeah.
So walk me a little bit through it, how that happened.
Okay. At first, my internship was supposed to be 4 months or so, and then I talked to my boss and say, okay, I really like it, and we had going on projects still to be done, and then we talked and we agreed to extend my contract.
Mhm.
And then that meant back then to extend my work visa situation as well. And always Anders from Gothenburg, he helped me a lot. A shout out to him. And
I will tell him I know Anders.
he's amazing, and all the time he helped me, and reach a point that he couldn't help anymore, because then was okay, Andres, I think your internship has been too much extended into this visa situation. Now you have to deal with that with the company, and the company was willing to do that, and they did indeed. And in total I passed 1 year and 2 months, and I had to leave Sweden because of a visa situation. And then I come back to Brazil. I passed 6 months, and then I come back again to Sweden. Now I have the right to live here for mostly 2 years. And back when I was doing my internship, I got to know my boyfriend, and we start to live together, because then, as I told you, I was living in a huge house without anyone, lonely, feeling lonely all the time. And we talk, and yeah, then I moved to his house. Now we are, they call like Sambo here in Sweden.
Mhm.
And when a person is living together with other, and this was thank for, yes, I got to know him, and I got to know this fantastic culture that is Swedes have. And yeah, yes, just open possibilities to me, and thanks to IAESTE, I am here now.
That's amazing. So actually another yes, the love story. Actually just this weekend friends of mine got married. They also met each other through an
Oh
IAESTE
my.
internship. She is from Bosnia, he is from Jordan. And
Oh.
they had already the formal wedding in Austria a few months back. But now this weekend they were in Jordan, got married there, and it was really nice to see all those the
Oh.
pictures on Instagram. And I think that's something really really nice. Also, I mean, I'm also I met my girlfriend through IAESTE, so we
Oh
both volunteered for
my.
IAESTE Austria. So
That's
um,
awesome.
so that's really nice. But let us go back a little bit to the working part,
Mhm.
because for me that's quite interesting. So you stayed over 1 year for the internship. You
Yeah.
had to go back for 6 months, and now you're allowed to stay here in Sweden
Yeah.
for 2 years.
Hmm.
But starting in August 2019, that means you lived in Sweden through the first COVID period, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken. So did that help a little bit with being able to stay longer, actually?
No,
Okay.
no, no, really. I cannot tell. That was a good. Was that because of that I stayed here in Sweden
Mhm. Okay.
longer. I really wanted to stay because it was good, and I was all the time busy and flat out with work and projects going on. And I finally agreed with my boss to extend my contract, and that would be good for my career and everything. And also the aspect of me as myself, seeing my my job be done and everything as a professional, I would say.
Yes. Okay, that's nice. But how was it then the first? It's always I'm a bit sad because we can see how was the first lockdown then? Did you already live together with your boyfriend, or did you
Yeah.
still sit? Okay, that makes things a bit easier. I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah. Actually, here I couldn't. Here in Sweden, they were more open regarding lockdowns. They didn't really made that at the beginning of this COVID pandemic, and but then I couldn't even tell that we were in a lockdown period, because here it was already people really respect the way you distance of people, and if the rule is, oh, Andressa, you have to not give the hands for a person to greeting, and here it's indeed like that. They don't give you the hand to greeting you, and whereas in Brazil it's kind of different. They kind of overcome the rules all the time, and here was different, and also the amount of people here was extremely less, and I could barely tell that we were in a lockdown period.
Okay, okay, that's interesting. Yes,
Yeah.
like I said at the very beginning, especially in Austria, Sweden was always considered as being, one of the role models also in handling COVID and so on. So I think Sweden is quite nice place to live actually. So that was a good choice in the end, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was. Yeah, of course it was. And also the way they handle the pandemic at first was really criticized, but I thought was a good way to handle, because people really respect each other's privacy and each other's way of living. And if the government suggests you do not shake your hands, or even to not go in a crowded place, they won't do it. And so it's kind of part of their culture to follow
Yes.
the rules as it is. Yeah,
Yes,
that's a good.
yes. I think that definitely helps. But let's go back to a little bit more positive question, and I think we are close now, also to the end somehow. But I think just came to mind. How was your first winter in Sweden?
Oh yeah. I have never had this experience with winter, and it was
Did you
amazing.
just maybe one short question before? Did you see snow before you came to Sweden?
Nay, no.
So wow, how was that?
Was amazing, fantastic, and I really cried because it was awesome moment. I'll never because even my family, they don't experience this until now, and then they haven't experienced this until now, and for me was a really glorious moment to be able to feel that, and it was amazing. It was amazing. And then when I showed my family, and it was like, oh my God, you're nice snow. You're seeing snow. And it was, yeah. But actually now in Brazil, in the south part, we saw some snow because of the cold temperatures, the coldness temperatures. And yeah, but it's still in the south.
Yeah.
And
which is a quite long travel time
yeah,
from Sao Paulo to the south of Brazil.
Yeah, it is indeed. Yeah, which means that. And here was a fantastic moment. And yeah, I cannot easily translate in words how it was for me.
That's like a huge mixture of feelings, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, it is.
I can imagine. I mean, I'm from Austria, so I grew up, but I can what people told me is like a mixture of gratefulness to be here, to be able to see
Yeah,
that it's
blessed.
enjoying the beauty in the end. But I mean, the problem we're always saying in Austria, the problem is that the people lose the ability to drive when it's snowing.
Yeah,
That's the issue. So you go to the mountains to see the snow, it's really nice, but in the city, people lose the ability to drive. I don't know how it is in Sweden. I assume it's better there because they have more snow.
yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, so I can imagine that one.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, I mean, when I got to know more about the winter and feel it, and had the experience of skiing. Oh my God, that was
Yeah, tell me.
a huge different experience. At back then, I was so feeling that it would be warmful for me somehow, and I was kind of, oh no, hesitating to go. But then my friend at work, he invited me to go skiing with him in a resort here in the
Yeah.
north part of Sweden. And okay, let's go to it, Andressa, you can do it. And then I did, and it was terrible.
But you tried. I think
I tried, but I fell as a kid. I mean, even a kid could fail as much as I fell.
but that's the I think a lot of Europeans learn skiing in general when they are small. So for
Mhm.
being doing it the first time, it's natural to fall down several times. And I
Yeah.
think it's amazing that you said, okay, you will try it. We talked about that. I talked with that about this topic. Yeah, you tried it, and you always said yes with another guest on the
Yeah.
podcast. And I think that's again taking out the best of it. And your working colleague
Yeah.
said, let's go skiing, and yeah, why not? I mean.
Why not? I know I'm gonna fail, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Did you
gonna
go
fall a
skiing
lot.
again since then?
Nay, no, no, because go to. I mean, when I went back to Brazil was winter here and summer there, so I had the 2 summers period
Mhm.
in a row, and I couldn't give a try again. But perhaps next winter that's coming soon. Perhaps I don't know.
True.
Maybe.
But now it's summer. Let's enjoy the summer. Um, Unfortunately, we are coming a little bit to the end
Mhm.
from our, let's say, for the time uh, I'm aiming for. But
Yeah.
maybe a few last question on how was it then throughout your internship and now after going out in Sweden? Did you have the chance to also to go, like, I don't know, to Stockholm or so to visit the city there and
Mhm.
yeah, experience a little bit about other parts of Sweden or Denmark, because did you know there's a bridge from Sweden to Denmark?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I have been to Denmark and Copenhagen. Yeah, Copenhagen, and I visit a friend there, and it was really nice. And she's coming actually up here this upcoming week to visit
Ah,
me. My friends from around the world that I
yeah,
accumulated because of IAESTE.
amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. And yeah, go to Stockholm and also visit my friends of the local community there in Stockholm from IAESTE. A
Mhm.
shout out to them as well. They helped me a lot here in the whole process and everything, even to this national IAESTE National Day here in Sweden.
Mhm.
And was a really nice event. I participated with them, and I felt so part of the whole. And they treat me so well. Yeah, but I was aiming to go to Kiruna to see
Mhm.
the northern lights, and also go to the Malmo, the south part, to
Mhm.
see the extremes point of Sweden.
Yes,
But
indeed.
travel within Sweden is quite of expensive. It's like in Brazil, since it is a big country in its length dimensions. It's quite of expensive, but yeah, I at the end I want to visit more within Sweden and see the difference within the country.
Yes. Yeah, so thank you very much, Andresa, for being part, and I think especially being with Yes, and you mentioned the local committee and Anders, and of course I will all of them forward the episode. I hope they are following the podcast anyway, to be honest. But let's come. There is a question, and although you mentioned already you volunteered, but there's a question I'm asking every guest at the very end, and the question is, if you could imagine to now be able to speak to every student on the planet who and maybe pitch in a few sentences why every student should get involved with IAESTE, either being volunteering or doing an internship or in any other way.
Okay, to be a short statement.
Can be longer too.
Okay, to make enrich your way of view the world as it is, and to be able to grow as a professional and also as a person, because EIS brought me to a high level of openness for all the other cultures, and also to be humble and respect the diversity of the world, because not everyone thinks like you, not everyone thinks like your culture. So be eager, be determined and resilient at the same time. And for people that comes from part of the world, part of the society, the low-income society, like me, don't hesitate. And if you have a dream, go for it, and surpass all the barriers that this unequal system give to you, and fulfill your dreams. That's the most takeaway and the tips and advice that I give to all.
It's wonderful. Thank you very much for being with me here today.
Oh, thank you.